Ladies and gentlemen, life has a strange way of teaching us lessons. Sometimes it doesn't whisper, it shouts, it puts us through storms, it tests our patience, it shakes our faith. And in those moments, we realize how much of our peace we sacrifice by caring too much about what people think, about judgments, about fitting into expectations that were never meant for us. The truth is, when you stop caring about what does not matter, life becomes lighter, freer, and easier. Not because the world changes, but because your heart finally breathes without chains. Stop caring about people's opinions. We are born into a world where from the very beginning, people tell us who we should be. They tell us how to walk, how to speak, how to live, and how to dream. Somewhere between their expectations and our reality, we lose sight of who we really are. We start living for claps, approval, and validation, thinking that without them, we are incomplete. But the truth is, no one can truly understand your path except you. People see fragments of your story, yet they write entire books of judgment about you. They laugh at your choices, they question your worth, and they whisper behind your back. The day you stop caring about those voices, you begin to breathe differently. You begin to live without fear of ridicule because you finally understand that your life does not belong to their opinion. Think about it, how many dreams have died because someone said it's not possible? How many talents were buried because someone laughed and said you're not good enough? How many hearts gave up because someone else's voice was louder than their own? The world will always have something to say, but their words are not chains unless you allow them to be. When you stop caring about what others think, you learn to walk with your head held high, even when people doubt you. You learn to smile without needing approval. You learn that silence can sometimes be louder than explanations. And that realization brings you peace, a peace no one can take away from you. Freedom is not about having everyone agree with you. It is about having the courage to stand even when no one claps. Life gets easier when you no longer feel the need to convince anyone of your worth. Your worth is not a debate. It is not up for discussion. The ones who judge you are already prisoners of their own insecurities. And if you allow them to dictate your path, you too will live in chains. But the moment you let go, the moment you stop caring about their noise, you start hearing your own soul more clearly. That is when the real journey begins. And slowly, you realize that the greatest power you hold is the ability to live your truth without needing the world to agree with it. Stop caring about perfection. Perfection is one of the biggest lies we are taught to chase. We grow up believing that if everything is flawless, only then will we be loved, valued, and remembered. We chase perfect bodies, perfect jobs, perfect families, and perfect lives, forgetting that perfection does not exist. What does exist is authenticity. And authenticity is far more beautiful. When you stop caring about perfection, you stop hiding your scars. You stop masking your weaknesses. You stop pretending to be someone you're not just to look polished on the outside. And in that vulnerability, you find strength. Because perfection isolates you, but imperfection connects you. People don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with realness. The desire for perfection is exhausting. It keeps you awake at night. It makes you afraid to take risks because you fear failure. It makes you doubt your every move because you think anything less than flawless is unacceptable. But the day you stop caring about this illusion, you set yourself free. You start doing things because they matter, not because they look perfect. Think of nature. A flower doesn't bloom perfectly. Sometimes it bends toward the sun. Sometimes its petals fall early. Yet it remains beautiful because it exists, because it tries, because it grows. You are no different. Your cracks are not flaws. They are proof that you have lived, that you have endured, that you have grown. Life gets easier when you stop editing yourself. When you laugh loudly, even if it's not graceful. When you take a step forward, even if it's shaky. When you love openly, even if it's messy. Perfection will imprison you in the fear of never being enough, but imperfection will show you that you already are enough. And once you release the pressure to look flawless, you realize how much energy you wasted hiding yourself. That same energy can now be used to embrace yourself, to grow, to create, to live fully. The day you stop caring about being perfect is the day you start living freely. Because in the end, no one remembers perfection. They remember the moments when you were real. Stop caring about the past. The past is like a heavy suitcase we drag through life. It is filled with regrets, mistakes, and heartbreaks that weigh us down. We replay old conversations, we revisit old wounds, and we punish ourselves for decisions we can never change. And in this endless cycle, we rob ourselves of the present moment. But the day you stop caring about the past, you feel a weight lift from your shoulders. You realize that the past is not meant to be a prison. It is meant to be a teacher. Every scar, every mistake, every tear, it taught you something. And once the lesson is learned, there is no reason to keep carrying the pain. Think of how much time we waste living in what if. What if I had done this differently? What if I had chosen another path? What if I hadn't made that mistake? But the truth is, what if cannot change reality. It only steals your peace today. The moment you let go of the need to rewrite your past, you open yourself to write your future. The past cannot hurt you anymore unless you allow it to. It is a closed book. You can revisit its pages, but you cannot rewrite them. Life gets easier when you finally accept that forgiveness, whether for yourself or for others, is not about erasing the memory. It is about erasing the weight. You must understand that every mistake carved wisdom into your soul. Every heartbreak taught you strength. Every closed door redirected you to another path. Instead of cursing the past, honor it for shaping you. But then, release it, because it has no right to control your tomorrow. When you stop caring about holding on to what's gone, your hands are finally free to hold what's coming. The pain loses its grip. The fear loses its voice. The past becomes just that, the past. And in that release, life feels lighter, easier, and more peaceful than you ever imagined. Stop caring about competition. We live in a world where comparison is the thief of joy. Every scroll, every glance at someone else's life makes us wonder, am I behind? Am I enough? Am I doing well compared to them? And slowly, we stop living our journey because we are too busy measuring it against someone else's. But when you stop caring about competition, you start understanding that your life is not a race. There is no finish line, no deadline, no scoreboard. There is only your path, and it looks nothing like anyone else's. The moment you accept that, peace finds you. Think of how draining it is to constantly compete. You win, and yet you feel empty because someone else is still ahead. You lose, and you feel broken because you measure your worth against their success. But life is not about being ahead, it's about moving forward. And forward looks different for each of us. The only healthy competition is with yourself. Can you be better than who you were yesterday? Can you grow a little more each day? Can you break your own limits, not someone else's? The day you stop caring about being better than others and focus on being better than yourself, life transforms into a journey of growth instead of a race of exhaustion. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be, learning what you need to learn, becoming who you are meant to be. The noise of competition fades the moment you embrace your own timing. And when you stop comparing, gratitude finds space in your heart. You begin to appreciate your blessings without envying others. You start celebrating others without feeling less. And most importantly, you start celebrating yourself because your worth no longer depends on being above anyone. That is when life becomes easier, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally stopped running a race you were never meant to run. Stop caring about pleasing everyone. One of the greatest prisons we build for ourselves is the need to please everyone. We nod when we want to disagree, we smile when we want to cry, we give when our soul is empty, and we shrink when our heart wants to expand. And in the process, we lose ourselves. The truth is, no matter what you do, someone will always disapprove. You cannot make everyone happy, and the sooner you accept that, the freer you become. Life is not meant to be a performance for the world, it is meant to be a reflection of your truth. When you stop caring about pleasing everyone, you give yourself permission to say no without guilt. You give yourself permission to set boundaries without fear. You give yourself permission to rest without shame. And that permission is not selfish, it is necessary. Pleasing everyone is a battle you can never win. The more you give, the more they expect. The more you bend, the more they push. But when you stand firm in your truth, when you honor your own needs, you attract the right people, the ones who love you for you, not for what you can do for them. Life gets easier when you stop performing and start living. When you no longer seek applause, but peace. When you no longer stretch yourself thin to be everything for everyone, but choose instead to be whole for yourself. And the beautiful irony is this: when you stop caring about pleasing everyone, the relationships you do have become stronger because they are built on authenticity, not on performance. That is when you finally understand freedom is not in being loved by all, but in being true to yourself. In the end, life gets easier the moment you choose yourself over the weight of unnecessary burdens. When you stop caring about opinions that silence your truth, about perfection that steals your joy, about a past that cannot be changed, about competition that distracts you, and about pleasing everyone who will never be satisfied, you begin to breathe again. You begin to live with a lighter heart, with a freer spirit, and with a deeper sense of peace. The chains that once held you lose their grip because you finally realize that your happiness does not belong to the world. It belongs to you. And in that freedom, you discover the real essence of life. It is not about being flawless, being approved, or being ahead. It is about being real, being present, and being true. When you stop caring about what was never in your control, you make space for what truly matters: love, growth, gratitude, and inner peace. That is when life feels easier. Not because the storms disappear, but because you no longer carry the weight of everything that does not serve your soul.